know where there's some. Right here in the hall clerk.
No, Molly, I have
As always happens with old mechanical things, grease hardens. Down in here, this is the speed, so the back, looking up from the underside, the speed control, 33 1/3, 78, 45. And it would only play move to 33 1/3 positions, depending on album size. And it's because the grease down in here is solidified. This rotates around and it drives this shaft, which then causes this mechanism here to move, to slide along a pen. And it's so thick that I could barely get it into a 45 position. So I think I've got to take this top mechanism off. I'll try it without first because I was afraid something's going to fall off and I'll never replace it. But I'm going to clean the grease out from in here first of all, and over here too. This thing has really gummed up. It's really gummy grease. So clean that off and then put some white lithium in there and see if I can free this mechanism. Next thing to do. Okay, I've got this all cleaned out and lubed, and this stair-step speed changer gizmo there cleaned out. So now it actually, those are the 33 1/3 record sizes. It all functions like it's supposed to. Which is good. So I've done the others as well. The other points that were all gummed up back in here and along here in this rail right here. Okay, the roller is really floppy after 24 hours in the special solution. I've got the speed selector. As you can see, the roller will touch either the largest diameter, second largest diameter, or smallest diameter, depending on the speed. So that's 33 1/3 there, 45 hits the middle, 75 at the bottom. These over here on this dial have to do with disc width and where the tone arm returns. So that's in, that's lubed, that feels nice and supple. We've got the primary shaft oiled up here and ready to accept the platter, which I'll fit next. And there we go. All right, I don't need to button it up yet. I just want to make sure it runs. So plug it in here. We'll give it a test run. Manual on. Nope. I don't know what kind of grease Garrard used in these turntables in the 70s, but boy, every pivoting joint in this thing, one here, one here, well, they've got half the mechanism off, sitting up here. That all gets replaced down in there. But every joint or anything pivoted had grease in it, and the grease had turned to steel. It was just stunning every place. So I've had to take this deck completely apart and try to remember desperately how it went back together, which reminded me of the necessity of taking a ton of reference photos. And I'll give you an example. right here, this is the tone arm. Tone arm, which is here, fits up under here, and the pivot for the tone arm comes through this hole right here in this plastic part. And I got it all back together, and the turntable spins at proper revolutions, and it starts to do the record change process and then goes a bit haywire. And I could not figure out, I knew I had everything moving, but I could not figure out what was going on. So I was just sitting at my bench looking at this assembly right here, because this is the one that confuses me most. And it confuses me because this plastic bit here has this kind of, there's a pin with a spring in it right there, and that holds up on this plate so the plate doesn't flop around, but it does slide back and forth very stiffly, but it does slide back and forth, which is fine. I got this loosened up. Even the plastic was stuck, believe it or not. So I got that loosened up. I cleaned all the grease out from under there so that would actually move. Put it back together. Put this assembly back in place over here. Let me get that back in frame. Put all this back in there. And tried it, and it didn't work. So, as I said, I was sitting here looking at this, trying to puzzle out what was going on, and I was looking at this thing right here. So I went back and swiftly checked my reference photos, and yep, it's in the right place. It goes right there. And I looked and looked and looked, and it didn't make any sense because it doesn't do anything. There's nothing for it to push on there, except the back of this, which is very unlikely. So I finally said, I have done something wrong when I reassembled this. And I was looking at the reference photos, and I didn't take one from right here, which would have been nice. Or even lower down would have been nice. But the deal with this piece is, it fits back in there a ways. Like, not quite like that, but like that. So the lesson learned again and again and again is take a ton of reference photos. You're going to need them. And update on this Garrard 092. I've got it working mostly. You know, the usual record stuff. Set it down, it plays. This option, this is the auto switch, and this should lift the tone arm, start the turntable, lift the tone arm, set it down where it belongs, play the length of the record. When it hits the inner groove, pick up and return to the home plate. And it works 90%, maybe 80, and I'll show you what happens. Platter starts, mechanism clanks, sets the tone arm down, and the motor shuts off. So there's something, and then it starts back up again. So there's something still a little sticky in there. It still isn't quite sliding into place. But if you play it all the way to the end, this record, it's been so long since I heard what this record even was. As I recall, it's some rather ugly music. But it has this really tremendous crashing finish toward the end. So you can always hear when it's about done. I've not hooked this up to a phono yet because I have to solder the really fine wires into the RCA jacks. Okay, picks up, returns, shuts off, sets down. So that's all fine. It's the stopping, when it sets the tone arm down, stopping, and then sometimes starting back up again. So there's still something gummy in there. This has taken far longer than I thought it would, and I think I'm going to see if I can wire the RCA jacks on the underside back in and then stop for a while and get back to the radio, which I've abandoned for almost 2 weeks now. So I'll let you know if I finish. The wires leading from the cartridge down into the RCA jacks into the deck are so fine that you know, the red one that you see right there was broken, had a curve inside the tone arm, and they're so fragile and so fine I just couldn't work with them. So I ended up having to order a new set of wires, which I will put in and wait for those and put them in, and we'll see how it goes then. So catch you next time.